Let's go now to someone who was there in the room for all the negotiations and more. Leader of the Nationals in the Senate, Bridget McKenzie. Well, you would have heard Andrew Clennell there. He thinks you're trigger happy. You've walked away too peremptorily, that you should have just basically signed the document and not worried about issues like nuclear until there was a proper review. What would you say to that?
Well, Andrew can afford to spout his views on Sky. I'm actually responsible to the people that elected me, as is every one of our MPs and senators in the National party room. And we made a very reasonable request of a trusted partner, particularly around the 4 policy issues that you've outlined. And unfortunately, the Liberal Party were unable to guarantee those as coalition policies. And so we made a very heavy decision, not one taken lightly, but one that we made collectively to lead the coalition at this time.
Yeah, what I don't understand, Bridget, and I made the point with Andrew, and sometimes I think with media they just, want the sport of the debate, but the precedent sits in your favour, and that for 20 or 25 years, as long as I've been around politics, you've always accepted that after an election, the policies stand unless they are specifically repudiated, right? Unless you've decided X and Y are what sent us to the wall in the election. This is very different. So what Susan Lee is saying, that we have no policies until we have the review. We might have values and principles, but none of our policies that we would have been elected on a couple of weeks ago exist anymore. They're all gone, and we'll take 6 or 7 months to work out what we think, and then you'll know what we stand for. I don't know how that's supposed to work. How do you deal with legislation coming through the parliament in that time?
Well, exactly, Peter. And it was only less than 3 weeks ago we stood and fought on a hill to the death for these policies. And for the National Party, things like the Regional Australia Future Fund, which would a $20 billion fund to actually allow regional communities to seize the opportunities and overcome the challenges of the next couple of decades, nuclear power, divestiture of supermarkets, something that's been long held, as you would know. Ron Boswell was a huge champion of that particular policy. And to actually have had the internal fight within the coalition to achieve that as a coalition policy, to then say that's all off the table, wasn't acceptable to our party room. And we understand the Liberal Party has to go through a period of reflection, of review, and to work out who and what they're about. We respect them enough to make the space for them to be able to do that. We can't be a successful coalition if they don't get that right. We know who we are and what we're about. We're not afraid to say it, and we just want to get on with fighting the Labor Party and to stand up for the regions on the policy platform that we took to the last election, and we'll continue to do that.